exploitation of power. You could see the exploitation of power in so many different ways if you could just open your eyes, and you'll begin to understand how you are being exploited. One of the exploitations that you could see is just in slavery in and of itself. The way that the slave owners exploited their power was how they exploited their slaves. And they exploited their slaves in more ways than you'd ever realize. And how pathetic it is when you really open your eyes and see it for how it really works. And know, even as white people, we were victims of the slavery. Not as extreme as the black people were, but we were exploited along with the slaves. And how do I say that? How do I mean that? The way the southern plantation owners exploited slavery against their own white people was that not only did they exploit their power against the blacks, I mean, to the point that they could even kill a human being with no consequences, no punishment, which is so pathetic, so sick and disgusting. They also used this power they had against the blacks against their white brethren too. And that anytime, any whites in the South during the antebellum days tried to strike or demand better wages, they would immediately bring slaves in to take their place and force them to take a pay cut, which meant they also exploited the white people too. Slavery hurt the whites as bad as it hurt the blacks. So that's living proof that slavery not only hurt blacks, even though it hurt them more, it hurt the white people too. People got to open their eyes to how power really works and the way that those in power exploit their advantages to gain more power and to squash more human beings. And I don't care what the color of their skin is. You're blind if you think that they're not coming for your power too, just because you got white skin. You are blind and you're a fool. They will come for your power. And how? I can prove it right now. By the way they made slaves take the jobs of those striking for or demanding better wages to force them to take pay cuts is going on today. It's exactly the same thing. How? By shipping your jobs overseas, giving them to slaves. Basically, like the people who make clothes for Walmart get paid like 33 cents an hour, and it might even be less than that now. That was a few years back that I heard 33 cents an hour. These people work 70 hours a week and still don't even make enough money to feed their family. That's worse than slavery. But that's who's doing the jobs now. It ain't the white people in America that's doing them jobs now. It's people in Indonesia, people in Pakistan, people in India, working at sub-slave wage pay that are doing your job now to force you to take pay cuts. You are a slave, whether you want to believe it or not. And there's nothing worse than a slave who thinks he's a free man. As long as Wall Street has control over the government, you are a slave. As long as you keep voting for Democrats, you are a slave. As long as you keep voting for Republicans, you are a slave. Until we get money out of politics, you are a slave.